Hello and how are you? My name is Winnie Barawa, and in today's class we're going to focus on gender analysis frameworks. And if you're new here, this is Medical Academy. We discuss lectures and lessons in regards to health and any medical causes that pertains to the students or also professionals. Welcome and keep it all the way to the end. So one may ask themselves, what is gender analysis frameworks? We've defined gender analysis as a process that involves carrying out that involves getting data about men and women and establishing their differences. But then what will be gender analysis frameworks? So gender analysis frameworks, therefore, are step-by-step tools that you use in carrying out the gender analysis. And what these tools will do, they will assist in raising questions, analyzing information, and also developing strategies so that we can increase either men or women's representation and participation in policies, projects, and programs. So they're basically tools. It's like, for instance, when you're carrying research, we say research is a process, right? And in the research, you are gathering information about particular issues. But before you conduct research, you develop research tools. For instance, you can develop a questionnaire to ask questions. You can develop an observation tool to observe a process. Or you can develop focus group discussions and gather information from a small category of people. So it's the same with gender analysis frameworks. Just as gender analysis is a process, you will also need tools. So these tools in gender analysis is what we are calling the frameworks. So what the frameworks do, they will contain different parts that will address different aspects of the gender equality. So we'll have sections. Let's say the first one is checking on demographics. The second is identifying different determinants of gender differences. And it will go on and on based on your objectives and what you're looking for. So you need to understand that most gender frameworks, though, they only look at gender roles and the relationship between men and women. So they evaluate the relationship between men and women based on their gender roles, based on their activities, and any impact that certain other programs have in relation to the men and women. So I hope that makes sense that gender framework is a tool that allows us to carry out our gender analysis, raise questions or rather ask questions, analyze the information, and develop strategies that will help us increase men and women representation or participation in either projects, programs, or also policies. So keeping on, we've said the frameworks in this case simply means tools. So what's the purpose of developing a gender analysis framework? Number one, when you have a gender analysis framework, it will allow us to have a clear context analysis. So the gender analysis frameworks give us a way of thinking about the context that shapes the relationship and dynamics of any situation or a group. So you can use a tool to analyze a context clearly. So if maybe it's in a time of war and you want to see the different effects it has on men and women, you can use the frameworks to analyze the context and get to see the different relations that a certain situation could be having on a group. Number two, a gender analysis framework will allow us to visualize and plan. So the framework tool will provide you, for example, with a way of representing key points of a particular group in a simple manner so that it can help you come up with a clear decision. So when you have these frameworks, you can easily understand how certain situations are working so that you can get a clear view and plan out on what you plan to do or what you plan to work around with your data that you get from the tools. So number three, the analysis frameworks allow communication. So the gender analysis tools help you with sharing information, train people, or sensitize the group to gender issues. So after you remember you are collecting data using these tools and you get so much information from them. But now when you get this data, it allows you to communicate because if I go to a certain community and I get data about how women are able to access water and sanitation services, this information I can use it, for example, to share it with other people I can use the same information to train others who may have wanted to understand that particular community, or I can use it to sensitize not only to stakeholders or even government agents to see how they can be able to view about the gender issues in that particular community and come up with better solutions for them. And lastly, we can use frameworks to monitor and evaluate. When we collect the different information the tool is able to, then you can identify strengths and weaknesses in a particular environment or situation, and therefore you can work around with that to monitor and evaluate so that you can come up with better strategies in case what is already being implemented is not effective enough. So the monitoring and evaluation part allows us to come with better methods in case a certain intervention is not working, or you want to come up with strengthening strategies to make what is already happening on the ground better. But also I need you to note that gender frameworks sometimes been designed for use in a particular context. Like the tools will not look the same just because you want to do a gender analysis. The tool will look different based on the area that you're going to analyze. So it can be a different tool. Maybe it's an emergency setup. It will look differently if you're working in an urban setup. The tool will look different if you're in a rural setup. So generally it tries to tell you that you need to customize your framework based on the place that you're going to do the gender analysis. So the framework is not the same everywhere. It will look a bit different, or you will alter it based on the place that you're going to work around on. And that was it for the class of today, where we're introducing gender frameworks, the significance it has, and the keynote that with gender analysis frameworks, you need to appreciate that they will look different based on where they are. So if you like what we are doing, remember to subscribe, comment, like, and share our content with your friends and other people around you. Thank you, and see you in our next class.